Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of February 24th through the 28th. I will go over price targets on the 5-minute time frame, have a gap recap from February 18th through the 21st, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is NEO. We ended the day at $4.44, up 1.60%. To the north side from where we are takes us to one level of resistance and the middle of the trend and the baseline, and that is roughly 446. Above that in the blue is VWAP right here at 454. Another level of resistance, 459. At 3 standard deviations, roughly 465, and do not expect price to get to this level on Monday. And if it does, you will see a pullback, and that is roughly 471. To the south side takes us to -2 standard deviations and another level of support and a potential buy-in area, 433, 427, and roughly 421. All the purple lines are previous middle of the trend lines that have now turned into either support or resistance. So just ignore those lines. And then the yellow lines are also previous support and resistance lines that I've marked out that I can erase, but I just leave it on for giggles. I like to see where we've been and where we could potentially head. Now, looking left, as you can see, this was the beginning of the week. Let me make sure that was marked out right there on Friday. So we started the week at 444 as well, and look at where we are now at 444. This line has turned into a support line, just riding along here. But we did go down, touched another level of what was then the middle of the trend that has now turned into support, and a bounce off of that. This is your clear sell signal at 2 standard deviations, and then note here your clear sell signal as well. And as we go down, this turns into support, this turns into support, and we could bounce off of that. The RSI on the 5-minute, let me move this out of the way, is turning straight up. Reset that, Option R. This gap that opened up on Friday, February the 14th is still in play. I will just extend that out. See, we touched it here, but did not close it, so it's still active. And this gap that we predicted price would get to 469 did come true. And look at that right on cue, 469. And that gap, if we look left, opened up on Tuesday, January 7th, 2025. And look at this, we fell down and then we closed that gap. That was again predicted, and that is no longer in play. I need to clean this up. So there was a gap down, and then that's why we filled it to the upside. So that is no longer in play at 469. So congrats if you went long off of that move, going short and then going long. 464 is where it started, so that is no longer in play as well. Done. And I've cleaned up all the other gaps, it looks like. Now we do have a gap here to the south side as well, but that is not in play. As you can see, we're going up on the 5-minute. That will take us to 412 and then closing out at 395. And while I'm here, I'll just extend this out as well. But not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close for right now on the 5. And you can see I noted price at the end of the day. We were up at 560, 509, 458, 451, now 444, but we did end the week on December 27th at 448. And the next gap up after, oops, gosh darn it, you have to grab it in a certain spot, otherwise it gets wonky. Let me exit or hit escape. That'll, well, no, it didn't work. There we go. The next gap I will be looking forward to is this one that will take us to 488, and that will close out at 505. The 1 year price target on this is 589. And have I marked that out? I marked it out 585 when I looked at it, so it's been revised. And then we have this other gap. I'll just extend this as well while I'm here. All right, that's enough for NEO. And if I flip this to the monthly time frame, just for giggles, you can see how many times I have tracked this, all these gaps to the upside and to the downside. All right, now let's just go back. Oh, and the RSI, that's where I really like to look for long-term plays, right here. You can expect the crash after seeing that. That will always happen. And on the weekly, we're right here going sideways, but plenty of room to move to the upside. And on the daily, also going up with plenty of room to go to the upside. All right, now let's take this back to the 5 and carry on. And I'm going to speed through this now. Unilever. Ignore all the horizontal lines. Resistance, potential take profit area, 56.41, 56.60, and oh, I'm going to delete that because that is a sales. I'm going to sell out the shares I own possibly at 56.79. I'll just delete that for this purpose, for this video. The middle of the trend is 56.03. VWAP is 55.72, 55.65, 55.46, and 55.26. Oh, and by the end of the week, because all I'm doing is tracking from here to here, if we continue to go up, the middle of the trend could take us to roughly 57.75. Where will NEO take us? I forgot to look. So from here to here will be 458 at the middle of the trend and 2 standard deviations, 470. Now let's go back to UL. Now I've gotten myself sidetracked. I think I did show you this at 55.26. I'll just do it again. Oh yeah, I did. All right, looking left. I do not see a gap out of the gate, but we did open up a gap here on Thursday. And did we close this gap? Let's extend it. We gapped down, so that means this will reverse course, and we did. We touched right here at 55.64-ish, and now we're at 56.13. All right, and this is right here, support. About, you can expect a bounce. We did here as well, here, and here. Now for the next gap up, I will anticipate a move all the way to $59.03 bet. Oops. We are not in this channel to take it out. So if we're lucky, this will hit, well, this is not going to hit till the end of, in 2 weeks possibly. And conservatively, if we go to the middle of the channel, that could take us to, well, the date's not here. I have to flip it over, but just know that that is not going to close out this upcoming week. As we get closer, I will let you know. But because I'm only doing this week, I'll just extend it to the end of the week. And to the south side, do I have anything? No. I did buy some at 51.13 and some at 53.79. All right. Oh, and that gap closed. All these gaps to the downside fortunately closed. Yes, I do remember talking about that. And then we have another gap up here. This ticker had tanked a long time ago, and we're just basically clawing back. And I did clean that up. All right, let's go to the next one. Oh, the 1-year price target on Unilever is 62.95. Estee Lauder is the next one. 71.80. The next target I'm looking for is 72.37, 72.90. Where's my, oh, my blue line is right there. You can, let me just fix that. But the blue line is 73.46, 72.91, and again, roughly 72.37 to the south side. VWAP in blue, 71.60. The middle of the trend is now roughly 71.27, 70.20, 69.67, and then back to a spot we've been, oh, grabbed the wrong thing, it's this one. That line right there, roughly 69.08. And then looking left. Wow, look at this. We really fell down here. This gap is still in play. We gapped up, which means we will fill it to the downside. But right here is your middle of the trend, support, 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 and then there was a buy-in. And then look at this. We tanked even more, and then we bounced up, fell back down. This is resistance up here, resistance, and then it fell. So if we get down to here, I'll anticipate a bounce off of that, but we have this gap to deal with. I will extend out. This price will take us to roughly 69.27, and it will close us out at roughly 68.92. And then we've got that gap to deal with as well. But right now we are still in a slightly upward channel, but just kind of almost going sideways as well here. It's not a steep incline. And what happened looking left? So we have a gap all the way to roughly 82.62. That is a long ways off because remember we fell from grace with Estee Lauder, and that's what piqued my interest. I don't see any other gaps to the south side, so that's good. The 1-year price target is 75.07. Next one is Nike. Option R to reset. All right, again, all I'm doing is looking from this price on Monday to Friday. And here we go. VWAP 76.60, very close to where we are. The middle of the trend is right here, retracing back to a level we've been to before. So I'm going to delete this yellow line. But I marked that yellow line out how long ago? Oh my goodness. Back on November 25th. That yellow line was the middle of the trend and the baseline, and we've been all over the place since then. So now let me Option R to reset. I will delete this. Too close, I don't need so many lines. All right. There. So to the north side takes us to an area we've already been, 77.65, 78.11, 78.52. To the south side, 75.96, 75.52, and 75.90. But I never expect price to go out to the 4 or -4 standard deviations. It's basically, oops, 2 and -2 all day long. Oops, what did I just do? Let me just fix something. Okay. All right. By the end of the week, we could be at 77.18 for the middle of the trend and roughly 78.03 to the south, to the north side, and then to the south side, back at this line. All right, we've got a gap to the south side, and that will take us to roughly 74.48, closing out at roughly 73.16. And what happened here? 2 standard deviations. This is your clear sell signal, and you could see there was a drop, another drop, another drop, clear buy signal, clear buy signal, buy signal, buy signal. And where are we headed? I think that is it for the south side. Okay, everything else is closed that I've tracked, so that's good, I believe. I have to take this to a different time frame like the daily to see more of it. All right, and we've got this gap taking us to roughly 94-ish, starting down here, 79.03, and then we have this gap within a gap. All right, but that is not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Here were your great buy opportunities. The 1-year price target is 84.57. All right, the next target is Boeing. You can see the previous week we went from here all the way down to here. In a downward channel, we are still in that channel. All right, here are your price targets. The middle of the trend for this week is right there at 177.81. VWAP in blue, 178.22. Roughly 180.32, a place we've been before, and we've been here at 181.61 and 182.85. To the south side, support 175.30, 174.03, and back to a spot we've been, 172.69-ish. And at the end of the week, if we continue to go down, we could see the middle of the trend at 164.75, 162.20, 167.33. But for Monday, these are the targets that we could hit and then make our way down towards the end of the week. I am only giving you price action for Monday, but making note of other things as well. The 1-year price target is 197.35. So last week, obviously, even if we're going down, there are opportunities to bounce up. So we started here, and then from here, climbing up is resistance, and resistance, even though that is the middle of the trend, that is resistance, and we fell down, making our way back up to resistance, falling down to support, and then a bounce up to resistance, falling down, didn't quite make it there, but bounced off of there. And then we're going sideways, and now this is support, this is resistance, so we could hit it, get up to this line, go sideways, go back down, and then climb our way back up. And we've got some gaps that I have been tracking to the downside. These would be your potential buy-in areas all the way down here. And then after that, this one. But that is a ways away, something to be aware of. Not in the channel just yet. Now for Boeing, that's the end of that. Let's go to Tsly. Option R, reset. Ignore all the horizontal lines for now. Okay, 1103 is where we are at, down 4%. That's the middle of the trend. So if we grind sideways and then reverse, there will be price action off of that. VWAP in blue, 11.19. 11.49, that would be to a spot we've been, and then another spot we've been, 11.70 and 11.90. To the south side, support 10.66, 10.45, and roughly 10.24. I do have some shares at 9.77. I think there are no gaps. Yeah, I bought this a while ago. To the south side. And here's your resistance line selling off, a bounce going sideways, and just grinding along this line. This is where you can always bet price will hover somewhere around here and move off of that line. And then other support and resistance lines that I draw out. And I bought some here as well, so I'm upside down on this lot and this lot. I could have gotten out, which I should do, but I haven't because I'm terrible at selling. I'm very good at buying, but not at selling. I got to work on that. All right, this gap closed, fortunately, to the downside. Yay. That is no longer a landmine to the south side. That is done. We will delete that. This is something I've tracked here as well. No longer a threat to our account to the south side. Obviously, plenty of other threats, just not this one. These are targets, and if you go short, when I call them out, there you go. You made some money. And this one closed out to the south side, so we're done there. And that is it. So now we are looking forward to this gap to the upside. That will start at 11.63 and close out at roughly 12.16 to a place we've already been. And note the downward channel again on the 5. Next up, and obviously there are no price targets on ETFs. You have to figure out your price targets yourself, but that's super easy using the lines there. Intel, we've gone all over the place with this one. We are at 24.87. The middle of the channel is now here at 24.98. Ignore these old lines. VWAP 25.39, another level of resistance 25.85, 26.28, 26.70, and 24.14, 23.70, and 23.28. I don't think price will get to this level, but you can definitely anticipate a buy-in if it does. And this gap opened up on Tuesday, February 18th. This is now in play for this upcoming week because we only tickled it. Notice that that turned into a support line and a bounce off of that. Here is the gap fill to the south side at 23.60. It starts at roughly 24.50. And then we have this one to also be mindful of. This is a landmine to the south side, but if you like to go short, there you go. So we are over here, just it seems, making our way down this way to close these out. And we do need to close these out, otherwise it could haunt us at a later date. And think of it also as a potential buy-in area down here if you haven't gotten in and you are interested. But look at this baby gap I need to extend. This one opened up on February 10th. You know, it could take a long time to close out these gaps, but the potential is there to go short. All right, that's it for Intel. Oh, by the way, just really quickly, so we're at 24.87 here. So the end of the week, if we continue to go down, the baseline could be at 23.32, the outer edge 22.47. But I just gave you price targets for Monday. And there's a gap. Look at this gap here. Still in play, taking us up to roughly 29.06. Not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close, just something to be aware of. And then this one, if we retrace back to this level down the road. RIVN. Option R to reset my lines here. All right, we are at 12.97, right on cue with VWAP as well, to the north side. 13.31, 13.52, and a spot we've been to before, 13.72. Now, the middle of the trend for the week takes us to 12.90. Back to a spot we've been, roughly 12.50. 12.30, and don't hold your breath, 12.09. Now, as far as this gap that opened up on February 13th, we tickled it. Look at this. You could have made money going short, but we haven't closed it. So this is still in play to the downside, and that will close out at roughly 12.51. Just a tiny gap. Still, it's a gap. And I can clean up this one. This opened up on February 14th, and then we closed out. I just extended it, but I have no idea when it's going to hit, and it did right there on Thursday the 20th. So congrats if you made some money going short there. And all we did was this little movement up here and retraced to the downside, and then went down even more. But that's done. So this gap is still in play to the upside at 14.20, but that's not in the channel, not in the zone. And what about gaps to the south side? No, yay, I think we are done there, except for that little monstrosity. All right, we just need to close this out, rip off the Band-Aid, but on Monday we could hit it if we wick down. All right, but if we continue to go down, which is not likely, there will be a bounce up somewhere, but 1088 to the south side, 1047, and then there's 1170 to the north side. The 1-year price target is 1513. Okay, one more, SoFi. $14.67. My stomach is growling. I need to go eat. Okay, to the north side, VWAP is in the blue at 14.91. Oh, I need to get rid of that. All right, 15.02, 15.23, 15.44. To the south side, back to a spot we've been. That pink line is a spot that I've sold this ticker. So ignore that, no longer in play for me. I got rid of those shares. 14.17, 13.95-ish, and 13.74. By the end of the week, let's take a look at this. Oh my goodness, still bleeding out. But that's because we're getting pulled down by these gap closures. It's like a magnet. All right, so we are here. By the end of the week, we could be back to a spot we've been at 11.31. 1085 to the north side, 1172, and then beyond. But just kind of giving you some ideas and plays that you can do for yourself. Track it, and then... All right, this gap at 12.99 is still in play, this gap. But this small gap is... Let me hit Option R again. So we've got this gap right now that is in play for this upcoming week. And when did it open? It opened on Tuesday, January 14th. Okay, and this one to 12.99. And that one closes out at roughly, yeah, that 12.99, and then this one. But that is not in the channel, not in the zone. This one could hit maybe by the 24th if we continue to go down. But this thing will whoop you around. There's always potential to go down, but then even if we're going down on the channel, there's always a bounce as people buy a dip and then sell the rip. All right, what else is happening? You can see the retracement from here to here. This gap closed. This was a move I anticipated to the south side and then bounced off of that. That became your support. So we closed, that was in one day, right? Yeah. Opened up on the 13th and closed on the 13th. That's done. That one's done. I think everything should be cleaned up. I've already done that. So we've got two gaps I'll point out for right now. This one, 1607 for the bottom, and then this one. All right, and that will take us up to 1785. I've tracked this so many times, but I don't know. Oh, I bought some here and I sold some here for an 18% return. I've sold this multiple times, but I'll have to show you that one day on the daily time frame. This is just on the 5-minute time frame for quick price action. And then the 1-year price target on this puppy is, the next target is $20 to the south side, 1443. Oh, we're right there. All right, that does it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of, what are we talking here? Let me move this real quick. This is for the week of the 24th through the 28th. So I'm going to go grab something to eat. I think I have some leftover tacos. That sounds delicious. And if there is a ticker that you would like me to go over, please let me know. Otherwise, have a fantastic trading week.